Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. Just a very, very quick one here. This is another tactic of the media, when they always back the system, whether you like it or not. They always do that, whether it's on purpose or whether it's instinctual, because we believe that the people in power and those of authority are the ones that are right. What they do is, if they have a controversial comment, that will come first, and then it will be followed by the end with the government or an anti-claim to that, that makes you think that, okay, that person that made this radical comment was absolutely wrong and you shouldn't believe it. So because the last thing you hear is the thing that you come away with, especially if it comes from someone that's within authority. They don't want to allow you to think about, oh, this could be right. So I just want to play this clip for you.
European countries have to ratify it before it can be formally agreed. Of course, that has to happen.
I think it's there for the taking. This week the negotiations were really important.
Of course, some controversy over the weekend by blocking printing presses, which meant that many national newspapers couldn't be delivered over the weekend. Now, we had really senior politicians from both sides, from Labour and the Conservatives, come out yesterday and condemn this action, saying that everybody should have the right to read newspapers and have the choice of which ones they want to read, even if politicians don't necessarily like what's printed in them. But there are a few exceptions to that voice. One of them is Diane Abbott, and in fact she was on Sophie Ridge's programme earlier on today, suggesting that Extinction Rebellion can be compared to the suffragettes and that their action is perfectly legitimate.
I think it's important to remind ourselves is that direct action, which is what those actions were, is actually legal. We also saw over the weekend blockading of the port of Dover by far-right and anti-immigrant activists like Britain First and the EDL. These tactics are legal, whatever we think of the people practicing them.
Now, in response to that, Dominic Raab, also on the programme, said he was absolutely astounded by those comments, and the government is suggesting it's going to look at other legal avenues to try and make sure things like this can't happen again. Now, that will cause controversy in itself. Lots of people support Extinction Rebellion, and on their part, they think if they're being spoken about, then their aims are being met. But it's not an issue that's going to go away, and it's certainly stoked up some pretty tough responses here in Westminster this morning.
You see how she also raises her voice after Diane Abbott's comments to sort of make it sound more outlandish than it really is, and how they use Dominic Raab at the end as a system to make sure that you don't think that direct action is legal. But you notice in what she claimed Dominic Raab said was that they were looking for other legal means. Diane Abbott's claim was that it's legal to do this. Why the media didn't go and research that and say whether it is or not? Because if she's saying it's legal, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with her comment, because that's the law. And it does seem to be that's the way, because Dominic Raab's answer is about finding new ways to get around that law. But you see how the media uses the end statement to make sure that the system is the last one that speaks. So that because if you'd left with Diane Abbott saying that it's perfectly legal to do this, people may then go out and do it. But by putting Dominic Raab as the government, as the system at the end, and saying, oh, how outlandish this is for Diane Abbott to actually tell people what the law is and to support the law. I mean, isn't that what we're meant to be doing? When they don't like the law, that's how they act. But there you go, there you can see another example of whether it's purposely done or whether it's instinctually done. I suspect maybe a bit of both. But that's the way it'll always be when there's a controversial, radical comment that actually Diane Abbott was actually telling the truth about the law. But that's how the media made sure that people didn't, think that direct action is an acceptable thing by using Dominic Raab to say it's outlandish that Diane Abbott says that. That's the world we live in, where lies and truth. Didn't Hitler say something about that today? Anyway, it's got nothing to do with it. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.